and welcome to the first episode of the No Gimmicks Just Sweat podcast. First, thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you are listening. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at No Gimmicks Just Sweat. No Gimmicks Just Sweat will start to showcase people from all walks of life sharing their particular fitness journey. Everyone has a different story, and everyone has a different reason behind their journey. Hopefully these stories will not only inspire you, but help you aspire to heights you never thought possible. Again, thank you for listening, and now let's get started. And welcome to the No Gimmicks Just Sweat podcast. I'm your host, Eric Logan, and today we have Miss India Cook. And India is everything. She has so many hats on and is an inspiration not just to me but to a lot of other people. India, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Eric. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm super excited. I had to chuck a little bit because I do wear a lot of hats, but it's just funny sometimes to hear people say it.
No, hey, look, I recognize what you do, and you're a positive person, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show.
I appreciate it.
And, before we get started, before we let you kind of talk about, who you are and what your story is, I'm going to kind of start with some icebreaker, a little rapid fire questions. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Morning runs or evening runs?
Evening.
All right. Run on the treadmill or run outside?
Oh, outside all day.
That was immediate. Solo runs or group runs?
That depends. I do love group runs, but right now and for the last couple of years, it's been solo runs. So, but I started my run journey with group runs, and I really do love them and some good benefits out of group runs.
Okay. Road runs or trail runs?
Road, all day road. I'm too clumsy for trail. Well, I guess it also depends on which trail you're talking about. If you're talking about like a paved trail like Silver Comet, I'm good. But if you're talking about dirt trail, rocks and stuff, no.
I'd have to get you on a nice, non-technical trail. You will fall in love with it.
And I do see the benefit of it. I have done it before, and it's very serene and peaceful. So I would love to do it, but I stubbed my toe like 4 times on that route, so I wasn't here for it.
All right, what's your favorite race distance?
Between a 10K and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, if you can go run with any celebrity, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh man, I would probably have a mix between Michelle Obama and I would just go with Michelle.
Okay.
I feel like she has all the intel. She has to tell me all the juice.
All right, and your dream location to run, just any place in the world you can just go run, where would it be?
Yes, I definitely want to go to Africa and Hawaii. Those are 2 places that I feel like the views would be amazing.
Yes, I agree with Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to run against the coast of Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that would be you just zone out and lose yourself in all of the views.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so India, tell us, pretty much your story. Your story. Everybody has a story. Of how they got from where they were to where they are now. So, What's your story?
It's so interesting that I feel like my story has evolved over time. But I started into the running journey or the running industry just kind of on a fluke, on a thing of I wanted to start to do something that was a group activity. I did do track in high school, but I did the open 4, 300 hurdles, and the 4x4. I was not into distance running. And through majority of my life, I was into sports, but it was always cheerleading and dance. So not so much the track or running thing was not my full-fledged love. So after high school, I transitioned into college, didn't do much during college. And then after college, I needed something to keep me excited and going. So I ended up doing semi-pro cheerleading for a season. And after I did that, I said, I need something to keep myself active. Throughout those years, I dabbled and dabbed in running, but it wasn't anything that I did consistently. I actually My first race was a 10K, and I did that at the Peachtree Road Race here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I kind of took the strides after my dad. He did the Peachtree when he used to live here in Atlanta, and I would go as a younger girl to go watch him do that race. And so I knew that that was a good and fun race. So I kind of jumped in head first to a 10K instead of starting at what people usually do, a 5K. So once I did that, I really enjoyed it. And I said, you know what, I need to find something that can motivate me. Honestly, Eric, I found a love for running when I was out running, doing some of the races. But then my biggest thing is that when I got done with races, I would see people have friends or group or family at the finish line. And it was just like this overwhelming joy of, oh my gosh, you did it. You did so well. And it's like, for me, when I used to cross the finish line, I didn't have anyone there. And so it was like, well, how can I get to that place? So I transitioned into trying to figure out how I can connect with some run groups here in Atlanta. And I ended up doing that in 2014. I connected with a run group called Movers and Pacers here in Atlanta. Worked my way up. I was consistent with them, ended up being a captain with them. And honestly, everything just kind of took off from there. I connected with so many people here in Atlanta, and I learned that my motivation, my drive, my excitement for running was just a piece of me. It became a part of who I am. And so, of course, when you get that personal victory that you have for yourself, but then you also connect with amazing individuals and amazing people, you just find a passion that you have. And for me, it was encouraging and motivating others through my journey, and encouraging and motivating others through showing other people how to get into running. And I just kind of dove into it and loved it from there. And of course, you get around people and their positive peer pressure. So that got me to doing my half marathons, which I've done 16 so far, as well as 2 marathons. So it's led me to a place of learning that I love helping and empowering and motivating people. And I think back for me, I think about when I was in that space of trying to learn about the running community and figure out how I could get into it. There wasn't many people that looked like me. There wasn't many people that was talking about it. And it was one of those things where I said, well, I feel like I could be that person. I want to be what I was looking for. And that's got me to where I am now. So now I am a YouTuber. My YouTube is Miles from India. So I actually have a YouTube that I put out tips, tricks. I do run with me's or take people on my races when I'm, having races at or I don't say in very interesting places, but usually interesting places recently. And then I also have a podcast called the Run Duo Podcast, where myself and my co-host Tommy Mitchell do a biweekly podcast, and it's about running. So I mean, in this space that I'm in, everything that I do is to motivate, inspire, and to educate people that are current runners, or those that are aspiring to become runners, or ones that want to take their running to another level, or just individuals that are trying to get more education about things. And a lot of that I do through my experience. And of course, I am an RRCA certified run coach as well. So experience, certification, and just my journey. So long but short story.
Hey, but see, I told you she wears a lot of hats.
Yes.
And
yes.
again, you're very positive, and that's one of the things, the reason why I kind of gravitate towards you, because you're a very positive person.
I appreciate it.
You're someone that I've seen that, that can be an inspiration to others, as well as, kind of say, hey, to kind of make it short, you're someone that if they saw you in a runway of a crowd, they could probably walk up to you and speak to you, and you would speak back.
Yes, I would. It's so funny that you said that. This past weekend, I had a couple people reach out, come up to me at the race that I went to, and they just knew me from either podcasting or my YouTube, and I just say hello. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that, I don't consider myself a famous person or anything like that, by no means. But I just feel like you never know why people speak to you. You never know who knows you, and so you just always want to keep it 100 and keep it friendly with everyone.
Right. And yes, she is a friendly person. When you and I first met, were you like, hey, there was a big hug.
Yes, and it
Yes.
was us connecting on social media, and I feel like we hadn't met. It was a while that we had been chatting on social media, but we had never officially met in person. So I want to say it was at least a year or so before we met in person, and we actually live in the same state. So
Right.
it was interesting that when we were able to connect, it was great.
Yes, and we met at the race.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, and then again, and I tell people you have to meet her to get to know her. All right, let's
Yes, yes. I'm an open book, but yet social media, I don't put every single
right,
thing out
right,
there, but if you ask, I'll tell you.
yeah, yes. And well, and as a coach, you kind of want someone like that because that shows that you're being honest with people and upfront.
Hmm.
You're saying like, yeah, I struggled with this as well. So,
Right.
don't feel like you're the only one struggling, with this particular thing. I've also struggled with that as well.
Yes, definitely. And I think that that's what we need more of, Eric. Honestly, like we need more people that have a following on social media or people that are in the running space being transparent about their journey, not only just posting the positive things, but the not so good things as well. Because I think when there are new people or people that are wanting to get into the run space, there's a like false view of what it can look like. Running is not glorious all the time. It's not all about the shiny
No.
medals and the bibs and the races. There's so much more that comes along with it, and I just think we just need to do more better with being transparent with some of the lows that we have as
Right,
runners.
exactly. All right, so what does a typical week of training for you look like?
Mm. So that depends on if I'm actually training for a race. So on my off seasons when I'm not training for a race, usually it's 3 or 4 days of movement. If I'm not training for a race. So that usually I'm usually at least running 3 to 4 days, and I also do at least one day of cross training. And that usually is either spin or weights. However, when I am in season and I'm actually training or preparing or building my base up, usually I'm doing 2 days of cross training. I am, excuse me, 2 days of strength training. I'm usually doing a day of cross training, and then I'm usually running 4 days. So usually I have 2 off days, and depending upon how, if I'm really into it, and depending if it's a full or a half, sometimes I have double days on some of those days. So, but usually I always give myself 2 days of rest, and even on those rest days, I'm still getting in my stretching and sometimes
Okay.
yoga.
So are you training for anything right now?
I'm not. I'm not
Well,
training for
not
anything
for
right
anything.
now. Yeah, I actually it's been an interesting 6 months for me, but I just did a half marathon
Right.
this past weekend, and it was not the best race of mine. So right now I am pretty sore still. So I'm hoping that my soreness can go away over the next couple days, and I can make sure that I'm not injured. That's how sore I am right now.
Right.
So I'm hoping that I'm not injured. I'm dealing with some shin issues, which for anybody that knows, shins can take a while to heal. So I think
Yes.
I'm going to have to take a couple weeks off just because of that. So I'm not claiming injury yet, but I definitely know that I do have some shin splint issues that I need to take some time off on. So I'm not training for anything. I definitely have some virtual races lined up, but I'm probably going to end up having to sit out on those, or probably do I'm going to probably do some miles on the bike. I have a Peloton, so probably do some miles on the bike to hopefully equate to the some running miles. And I know that it's not the same, but I still want to get the movement in for it.
So you're a member of the cult of Peloton.
Yes, but it's so funny because I'm not engulfed in it like most people are. And even my partner, Braxton, he does not. He's like, I don't get it. I don't get the hype. So, I mean, I get the hype. He doesn't quite get it. But yes, I will say, I won't say I'm a member, but I do own one of the items that people that participate in the very exciting Peloton do as well.
All right. So with training, are you
Mhm.
being a run coach? Prior to you getting certified and becoming a run coach, did you ever use a coach?
Yes, so I have had a coach in my past, um, and I used it to train up for a half marathon. So not used it, I used him to train up for a half marathon. So yes, I have had a coach in the past, and it honestly has helped me to um, have a better understanding of what I want out of a coach, as well as the different aspects that a coach can provide. But yes, I have had a run coach.
And with that, as being a coach, how would you convince someone that's on the fence about, should I hire a coach or should I continue to self coach?
Yes, I think that there's so many different, and this is actually a topic I want to talk about on my YouTube, but this is a really great question because I think a lot of people feel like they should only get a coach if they're training for a race, and that's not necessarily the
Right.
case. So when you're looking for a coach or when you think you may want a coach, I think you need to look at several things. One of the things is how motivated are you in your practice by yourself? So like for me, I was one of those people, when I don't have a coach, I can go online and print a plan, or I can make a plan for myself. And as long as it is printed out, I can look at it, I can write it out, I will follow that plan. I don't necessarily need that extra motivation. But some people may need a little bit more push. So if you're one of those people where you feel like you can follow a plan, you might need a little extra push, encouragement, or excuse me, if you're in a place where you feel like your running is not elevating or you want to take it to another place and you don't know what to do, you feel like you've been doing the same routine and nothing has changed, getting a coach is something that can help you to get there. As well as, so coaches can be for motivation, they can help you to get to a goal race that you want, but also to help to give you consistency. I think a lot of people mistake that piece of it, and that means that sometimes, depending upon the coach that you get, they can give you a plan. They could be that person that can talk to you every day. They can
Right.
talk you through the concerns that you may have. They can talk you through like motivating what you need to do. They can help you with your form. They can help you, do all of the different logistics of running. They can assist you with. So it just depends on the type of coach that you obtain. But I think that it is not just for I have a goal race. It can just be for your everyday kind of capitalizing on the capacity that you can do as a runner and benefiting and pushing yourself there. Right now, I do coach individuals that are usually from couch to 5K individuals or individuals that are 5K that are runners already but are trying to improve their 5K, 10K, half marathon time. So I do coach them right now, but most of them are just trying to better themselves in the space of I want to not walk so much. I want to increase my intervals. I want to be able to do a 5K without running. So everyone has different reasons, and sometimes it is just motivation as to why people want to coach, and sometimes it is that they want to Boston qualify or get a better
Right.
time. So it's a lot of different reasons.
So with the pandemic, 2020 just pretty much got discombobulated completely as far
Hmm.
as from a not just a running aspect, but from a fitness aspect. How did that affect you?
Yeah, so I will say 2020 was amazing for me. I dropped 20 pounds
Okay.
last year through the
Nice.
pandemic from April to August. I just went hard on my nutrition. I went hard on my working out, and it was because of the pandemic. And then of course life
Right.
happened. And I gained a couple of those pounds back. If I'm being honest, I didn't gain all the 20 back, but I definitely have gained some of that 20 back, just because life took
Right.
over. And so I would say a big chunk of the pandemic thus far, I have been very focused on top of my fitness. I was still running. Actually, it just kind of gave me an appreciation, Eric, of running, of being able to get outside, being able to get the fresh air, especially when we just couldn't go anywhere, but they said that we could go outside and run. So it gave me a different love and appreciation for running. But then, of course, when life happens and, things change, you kind of fall off a little bit. For me, I did encounter some illnesses earlier this year that caused me to be off for like a month, of my fitness. So it's been up and down. So I would say that I've kind of had the whole gamut of full motivation towards my fitness, going hard on it, and then a hard stop as well. So it's been an interesting
Okay.
year.
And I think a lot of people, myself included, the pandemic not having races to deal with, and just like, okay,
Hmm.
there's no race, I can still run. It kind of makes you think a lot about things. Why am I running?
It does.
Do I
Hmm.
enjoy running more or do I enjoy racing more? And I
Right.
hear that from a lot of people nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for me, I enjoy
Right.
racing. I am a runner that also loves to race, and I think that people misconstrue that as well. There's a lot of runners out here that don't
Right.
race. And I just think for me, I am the runner that likes to race. I like the camaraderie. I like the seeing friends. I love the social aspect of it. I love the competitiveness. Even though I'm not, trying to get age groups and all that, but I am that person that I love chasing the person in front of me and trying to get to the finish line and beating me, beating my time for who I was before. So, or at a different race. So at the end of the day, I do enjoy racing.
All right, two-part question. Uh,
Uh
not bad. You can answer this. What is your proudest moment as a runner?
I think for me, honestly, it was completing my first marathon. I did my first marathon in 2017 in Chicago. I did not know prior to towing the start line at that race that I was injured. I had an IT band issue that did not come up at all during my
Of
training
course not.
block.
Of course not.
Um, yeah, it didn't come up at all, and so, but it did flare up at mile 8 on the course. And it literally was a hop and a waddle and a lot of cries to the finish line, but I have refused to not stop. So, yeah. So I would say for me, that was my biggest accomplishment. And then, of course, kind of second runner up, but similar to this one, I did redemption um, for that marathon because I really wanted to ensure that I went back to the same exact place to run the exact same marathon and not injured. And I went there and I PR'd by a lot. So I think between this, my marathons in general are my biggest accomplishment with
Okay,
running.
second part of that question. What is your
Mhm.
worst moment or the biggest mistake you've made as a runner?
I honestly would say that's recent. Probably should not have told the starting line to the race that I did this past weekend. I probably should have just set out. If I'm honest, I would say that it probably was not the smartest, knowing that I had had some history of some shin splints over the last couple of weeks that I have been doctoring and I definitely have gotten better. But when I was doing that race, I was like, I shouldn't have started today. So I would say running when you're, I want to say semi-injured, but knowing that there's something going on, you need to be 100% physically when you tell the starting line because you could potentially cause yourself to be injured. You have one body, and the races are there's a lot of races, regardless of pandemic or not. There's always going to be a race. So I would say that. So being not only undertrained but potential injury. So I would say that recent is my lowest
Okay.
low.
Do some people kind of say that, when they started running or as they run, it helped kind of build their confidence up. Have you
Mhm.
seen that in yourself and it translate into your professional life, your work life?
Um, I will say it definitely has helped me confident wise as far as who I am and being confident that I can walk into a room and have a conversation about something like you and I can talk for hours
Right.
about running. So, if someone was to ask me about running or ask me a topic that I can talk about and I can just say it, it would be that. I don't know professionally. I'm kind of one of those people, not kind of, I'll be honest. I am one of those people that I keep my personal life and my work life very
Yes.
separate. So when it comes to work, I don't usually talk about all the things that I
Right.
do. I do let them know that, I'm a busy person outside of work, but most people don't know that. But I think in regards to confidence, if someone was to ask me about personal life, I feel very confident in regards to letting them know what I do outside of personal life. And it does kind of like, yeah, well, outside of this and being an awesome employee, I also do all of these things. So, but I think that running definitely has this way of building confidence, um, and not only physically but just your mentality and your mental confidence. I definitely think that it has done that, and it's done that for me for several years and
Okay.
continues.
Now, as a runner, finding balance is something that we all struggle with. How do you manage
Mm-hmm.
to stay balanced and calm, given, the number of hats that you wear?
Planner, a big old calendar, and a lot of sticky notes.
So maybe
um,
I should buy stock in sticky notes.
I'm just saying, stock and sticky notes is needed. Yeah, but I think honestly for me, it literally is planning. But I think I'll say this: the number one thing is my passion for everything that I'm doing. I think you can want to do everything that you want to do, but something's going to fall to the wayside if you don't have passion for it and if you don't really love what you're doing. So I think for me, that's the number one thing. The reason why I'm able to be a podcast host, also do YouTube, have a 9 to 5 job, and do all those things is because I love the extracurricular that I'm doing. So I want to keep it up. I want to continue developing and putting out content. I want to continue to connect with people and make these connections that I'm making. So it helps it to be a little bit easier for me to keep going. But on a technical side of it, I do have to schedule myself very tightly. As soon as someone requests something, I write it down. If it's not written down, it doesn't get done. If there's an email that comes through, I'm very big on checking my email. So usually when emails come through, it's right to my phone. I'm looking at it, and I usually am responding or starring it to go back and respond. And I literally have to schedule myself. Okay, today you're going to go through emails. Tomorrow you have client calls. And I just really have to schedule my days. What Wednesday nights or Thursday nights is date night. Like I literally have to schedule every aspect of my life in order to keep up with everything. And prior to me doing all of the things that I'm doing, I was a scheduled person like that anyway. I'm just a huge planner. So when it came to a point where all of these things entered into my life, it was just all about scheduling
Okay.
them all.
And going back and kind of touching on passion, you're very passionate about running. Is there
Hmm.
something or someone that inspires you, or as well as that just keeps you going daily?
Yeah, I honestly, there's a couple people that keep me going daily. It's definitely a lot of people on my social media. I don't want to go through names because if I leave somebody out, I'm gonna feel bad. But there's a lot of people on my social media that inspire me, and they inspire me in different ways. There's people that inspire me because I know that they're doing a lot of behind the scenes work personally with their personal life, but they're still showing up running. They inspire me because they may be facing some adversities, and I know about them and they're continuing to push. But I also have people, so those are kind of my social media people that inspire me all the time. But then there's also people like my mother. So my mom she is not a runner. She jokes about she can't not making it to the mailbox only because it's just like a running joke that we have, like she's just really
Right.
not into running. But anytime it comes to me and running, when it comes to her, she always has a way of inspiring me and just providing some kind of level of motivation towards me. And also because she has some physical things that does not allow her to like go out and run. And so for me, it's she inspires me in a direct but indirect way of I think about people that don't have the ability to move their body the way that I can, and that inspires me to keep going. So there's a lot of people out here that can't move, would love to. There's people that would love to run a 5K but struggle to get out there. They may be dealing with different barriers, whether it be financially, physically, confidence, whatever it is, they're dealing with that. So anybody like that may be dealing with trying to get to a place that I have been or am right now, those people inspire me because heck, I may not have ever been there.
Right. See, this is what I say. A nice, passionate person. That's what.
Yes, yes. I definitely am passionate. I have my moments. I'm not a perfect runner and I'm not which I don't even know what that is, but I'm not someone I have my ups and downs as well. And I have my times where I don't want to do things and I just get in my lows and I have my weeks where I don't
I
run
mean,
too.
we all do.
But I
We
still know that
all
I
do.
love it.
Everybody
Hmm.
does at some point. They get to that point where it's like, I don't feel like it. I got this going on,
Yeah.
and it shows that you're normal. It
Hmm.
shows that you're human. You know.
Yes. Yeah. And I think for me, sometimes too, when my all my other personal stuff or, all of the things that I'm doing, when my extracurricular gets imbalanced or if it's all over the place and I have a lot to do, sometimes running does fall to the wayside. But then I learned that I have to check myself because running is what allows me to keep everything going. Meaning when I'm overwhelmed, I run. When I'm stressed, I run. When I'm happy, I run. So it's one of those things where when I'm not running, I need
Right.
to check myself.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna ask you this question. I know the answer I
Mm-mm.
want to hear, but I want to hear what you're gonna have to say because it's been a while since
Uh-oh.
we've talked about this. Okay. What is
Okay.
your current go-to running shoe?
So I'm gonna give it to you straight. So I actually my running shoe right now that I basically run religiously in is the Nike Infinity React. However, I have recently introduced
Woo!
Hoka One One into my collection. I am still trying to figure out how they're working for me. I will not confirm nor deny that maybe my shin splints have come from the transition of Nike to Hoka because it is a different drop, heel drop, and all that. So, and stack height. So I will say that I'm a Nike person trying to see if I can get into Hoka, which is very interesting. I'm not 100% sold on them as of yet, but I'm
Yeah,
working on it.
you're gonna gradually come over. You're gradually
Yes,
gonna come
yes.
over.
So we shall see. We shall
So
see.
some people listen to music when they run. Some people don't. What do you do?
I'm a music girl. I'm a music girl all day. So I mean, I can do runs without. And honestly, I probably like this race that I did this past weekend. The last probably 6 miles, I just turned the music off. Because I needed to be within my thoughts and not be distracted. And I just need to really listen to kind of how I was feeling and listen to my thoughts. But I listen to music on a regular. So yes,
All right,
listen to
what's on your
music all the
playlist?
time.
Uh,
All, all hip hop music. So I'm a hip hop girl. So any music that you will hear that you're gonna pop your fingers to, you're gonna dance to, that's what I'm listening to. So usually it is definitely your hip hop music that I'm listening to.
so and this is kind of putting your coach's hat back on. And
Okay.
we may have touched on this a little bit earlier, but let's say you have someone who's at that point now that might be older, or when I say
Mhm.
older, it could be in their 30s, they're in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, or even 70s. That says, it's just too late to
Mhm.
start running. What would you tell those people?
Mm. It's never too late. It's never too late. And I tell people it's never too late to move. And even though I am a runner, I tell people it's just important to have some kind of
Right.
movement. And I tell my clients now, I'm like, even if you can't run today because whatever has happened, I need you to give me some
Right.
kind of movement. Um, but it's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late to step into a place of a healthier lifestyle because you never know that even if you are 70, 80, that could give you an extra day. That's how I look at it. So it's never too late. And honestly, I don't like to call people older. I like to call them seasoned. But I interact and I engage with a lot of seasoned runners and a lot of seasoned people that are out here doing great things in the fitness circle. And they are kicking
Yeah.
behind. They're doing sometimes better than me and a lot of my other people, a lot of my other friends. So I say it's never too late. I see a lot of amazing individuals that begin to run in a latter part of life and they have been succeeding and it, could add on some days.
Yeah,
And why
and I
not?
always find it interesting, and I'm gonna do athlete, and we see a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that are in their 70s and in their 80s, and in the 60s, and
Mm-hmm.
I love having conversation with them, just to kind of see, why they do it and stuff, and you touched on it. It's about movement. They do it to keep
Mm-hmm.
moving, and like you said, they're not the
Right.
fastest, but just
Mm-hmm.
consistent. And a lot of times when I
Yeah.
watch a lot of them finish, so much younger people are sitting here like, oh, phew, yeah, I finished it. And they're wondering like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, what you doing after the race? I mean, they're just
Right. Yeah. And I even see some very speedy seasoned people. Like it's very interesting to see that. I tell people all the time, don't underestimate the person that's in front of you or behind you. Just because they may have a little extra weight on them, just because they look a little bit more seasoned, or even if they have a disability, don't underestimate their abilities to get out there and do big things.
there's one gentleman that I'm going to do quote unquote we're rivals, friendly rivals,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in his 60s. I easily beat him on the run, but he smokes me on the bike every time.
Mm.
Every single time, I could go ahead and finish the first part of the run and be 1 to 2 miles in on the bike ride. He will immediately
And
catch up
he'll
and
get you.
smoke me. And he
Wow.
explained, he said, "Yeah, I'm not a good runner." He said, "But I can cycle." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's obvious."
Right, right. Well, everybody has their strengths, right?
So, as a runner, how would you like to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as that person that helped to inspire and motivate and get people off the couch. Like, I get people that message me and they're like, thank you for that help. Thank you for the help. I didn't think that I could do this, and now look at me for who I am. So just, if I could have one person that says India gave me some advice, or India inspired me to start my running journey, or to push harder in my running journey, I will be happy. So just kind of leaving a legacy of goodness, and people knowing me as a good person that provided, educated, and inspired other runners around her and enjoyed doing it. I'm happy with that.
All right, as we get close to the end, what's a non-running fact
Mm.
about you that most people don't know?
I will say, so people do not know that I love makeup
Oh,
artistry.
I didn't know that.
So getting me through,
As much as we've
yeah,
talked
I know
about
you
it.
did. You probably expected me to say something about my cheerleading, which I say all the time because I don't post pictures about it. But so for undergrad and graduate school, I actually worked for a company called Lancome, which some ladies may know what that is, and so are some men. But I worked for them as a makeup artist, and I actually did some freelance after that. And even to now, a couple years ago, I did wedding makeup on a bride and some of their bridesmaids. So I still do, or can do, some freelance work with makeup. So I don't wear makeup often as much as I used to, just because there's a victory in where I am, where I have gotten my skin to where I don't have to wear makeup. But I absolutely love makeup, and I do love doing makeup as
Okay.
well. So
Yeah, I did not know that. I'm,
yes,
yeah, bro.
yes.
I was sitting here trying to flashback. I'm like, hey, she.
I probably have never mentioned that. And if you didn't know me through undergrad or graduate school, which I was not heavily engulfed in the running community at that time, you probably don't know that. Well, some of my running friends do, because the young lady's makeup that I did for her wedding, she is a runner, and I met her through running. So.
Is there anything else you want to touch on or share that we may have missed?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Continue to do great things, and I enjoy our what I consider friendship, and I just hope that you continue to do this. I'm looking forward to your show and all of the great things that are going to come out of it, and
Oh,
I'm just happy
thank
for you.
you. Oh, you making me blush.
Mhm.
So,
No
if anybody wants to
problem.
kind of contact you, check out your blog, listen to your podcast, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, so my podcast is called the Run Duo Podcast. We're on majority of the all the major podcast platforms. So you can definitely check us out there. You can also find us on Instagram at the Run Duo Podcast. If you want to connect with me personally, my Instagram is Eye of Indigo Runs. And you can actually find me at milesfromindia.com. That is my website name, and you can connect with any of my platforms, contact me there. And also, if you're interested in any coaching. But if you look up Miles from India, you can basically find me anywhere there. And as well as my YouTube is called
Yes,
Miles
and I
from
will tell
India.
people, do check out the YouTube videos. They are
Yes.
very informative, and they are funny sometimes.
Yes, yes. I have a little dry humor that I like to put in there sometimes. So
Every once in a while, I'll send her a message saying, "Yeah, did you do such and such, or that point where you said this?" So yeah, so they're very
hmm
informative, and that's the key thing about
Thank you.
YouTube videos, because some of them can be very just dry and monotonous and bland.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm a person that I prefer watching YouTube over TV, and so I ingest a lot of YouTube over in my hours in the weeks, and so I try to make it as informative, as transparent, and as high energy as I possibly can. And of course, not every video is that way, but um, it just depending upon the topic. But even if it is a harder topic to digest, it's still something that I think that people can relate to, which is my biggest thing is making things relatable, me being transparent with my journey and helping people understand that running can be good and is good and it's fun and we definitely can have our highs and our lows, but
Yes.
it's definitely worth it.
Well, India, thank you for being a guest on the show.
Of course.
All
Thank you
right.
so much
You
for
have
having me,
a
Eric.
wonderful day. All right. Thanks.
You too.
It's easy to stop when things get hard, or just quit as soon as you feel pain, or even give up when you begin to have doubts about your abilities. To quote Frederick Douglass, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. I'm here to tell you that your strength grows with each struggle you encounter. Struggles are part of life. Struggle will be part of your health and fitness journey. How you confront those struggles is what builds the strength that allows you to keep moving forward. The success you achieve in your journey is much more rewarding when you have put in the work to make it through the struggle. Don't give up or give in. Keep grinding. Keep pushing forward. It will all be worth it. And that is it for this episode of No Gimmicks Just Sweat. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for your support, and until next time, keep crushing your goals.